Hey guys, here we are at, what's this campground called again? Payne Lake?
I think so.
Payne Lake, just outside of Waterton National Park. Came out here on a spur of the moment. Beautiful place. Got the sunset over here. Yeah, not bad at all. No, I thought I'd go for a little walk here with Sebit. This is my brother-in-law, for all you guys who don't know. And he was just telling me the other day he had a pretty wild dream. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it was a while back, and I remember it was a bright light, and
Well, how did the dream start out? You were just in like an open space, or?
it was like there was like this gate, right? And then there were two guards, and they were like, if you enter, you may never see your mom again. And I was like, all right. Me being me, I was like, yeah, okay, sure.
And he said, if you try to get past me, you will never see your mother again.
And then there was a bright light.
So this was after you walked through the gate?
Yeah, after I walked through the gate was a bright light, yeah. So then I saw Jesus, and then I remember just wanting to see God. It's like, I'm in heaven, I want to see God. And then God was right next to him. I couldn't see his face for some reason.
Like it was just like blurred, or like you couldn't?
It was like kind of bright, kind of blurry.
Wow, that's cool.
So then I was like, can I see your face? He's like, if you see my face, you're gonna die.
Wow.
So yeah. And then Jesus like walked me over to where there's a bunch of kids, and then they're all just so excited to see him, and they just want to talk to him, sit on his lap. And I'm like 14, I'm like super excited to sit on his lap, you know? Yeah, I'm like, like I cannot explain how happy I was. Like it's weird. It was great. It was crazy. I was just so happy. It was a great time. I didn't want to leave.
And then what happened after that?
After that, he's like, all right, you have to go back now. I'm pretty sure I asked him like a bunch of stuff about life.
Oh yeah,
but I couldn't remember some of them.
So you couldn't. You asked him a bunch of questions, but you couldn't remember.
I only remember so many.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so then he said to you, you can't see his face because if you see it, you'll die. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He said something about like you'll die in your physical life or something like that.
Yeah, physical life, real life. I'll die in real life.
Wow. So that's
while dreaming, I will die in real life.
That's wild, because you said you were in heaven, right? And then he says to you, you'll die in your real life, you know? So it's like, well, isn't heaven real, you know?
Well,
isn't that, well, I'm just saying, you know, it's kind of a cool thing, right? Where it's like it shows that line, you know, of blurring what's real and unreal, you know? Because, I mean, we generally think of dreams as being, you know, unreal. But in those situations, you know, because have you read that in the Bible where it talks about not being able to see God's face?
No.
You don't know about that?
I'm pretty sure. I was like, he must have a face. He must look like something.
Did you ever read that in the Bible?
No, I didn't read Revelations at the time.
But you haven't read in Exodus where it says that, where if you see the face of God, you'll die? You didn't know that?
I didn't read that, no.
So is this the first you heard of it?
This was the first I heard it.
That's
was the first I heard of it, yeah.
So yeah, in the book of Exodus, as many of you probably already know, it says, yeah, you can't see the face of God and live. And I've talked about this, you know, in other videos where it's like, you know, you see the face of God, and in my experience, it's your own face. And I honestly think, you know, that statement of you can't see his face and live, I mean, it was really fulfilled in my experience, because I had a near-death experience, right, when I was 25, and it was, in all accounts, the literal death. I really thought that I was dying. So, I mean, I think maybe, you know, when it talks about, you know, you can't see God's face and live, it's like you have to go through a full ego death experience. Otherwise, the ego will learn to identify itself with God, you know. The ego will start going around and saying, oh, I'm God, right? Well, you talk like that, yeah, you're bound to die. Yeah, check this out. Gorgeous sunset. We got the moon over here. Look at that. That's a great shot of the moon. Oh, we can't zoom in. Wow. Yeah, stand in front of that. So this was like your first really spiritual dream then, hey?
Yeah, my first.
Man, that is wicked. Yeah, it really, you know, once you've had an experience like that, there's really no going back, you know? It's like, because even the fact that you know, I honestly assume that you knew that from the Bible, right?
No.
Like, yeah, because Moses goes up on Mount Sinai, and he sees God. God says, I will allow my glory to pass in front of you. But then he says to him, but you cannot see my face, because no one can see my face and live. So without even having read that scripture, you know, you're seeing it in your own private revelations.
Yeah.
You know, that really confirms the Bible, you know.
Definitely.
So once you've had an experience like that, right, it's like, it's a new opening, right? It's a new experience, because all of a sudden you realize there's a reality to these things. Yeah, we're getting pretty dense into the weeds here. Maybe we should go back. Oh man, this is the perfect time. The sun is setting. You know, in the Gospels, Jesus talks about that. He says, God's love is like the light of the sun that shines on the just and the unjust, eh?